You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, how about that for a return to Wrigley Field for Javier Baez? We won't say anything nice about Javi on tonight's episode of Locked On Tigers Postcast. My name is Jake Rietma, fired up as always to be with you. The Tigers fall to the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. 3-1, the final. Will break down Javi's return to Chicago, all the missed opportunities, but some positives, including a Spencer Torkelson 4-hit game. That's all coming up next on the Locked On Tigers Postcast. But as always, we thank you for making Locked On Tigers Postcast your first listen or watch following the final out of the game. And in tonight's case, in many cases, it's a Javier Baez strikeout. That's right. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, on YouTube, it's all part of Locked On Sports Detroit. This is your friendly reminder. Make sure you subscribe. We've seen a ton of channel growth in the last couple of weeks, which has been awesome as we wrapping it up towards football season and close out baseball season. Come one, come all. You know, that's the motto here. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. So if you are one of the many subscribers, go ahead and tell a friend about the Locked On Sports Detroit page as well. It's your Detroit sports post-game, postcast destination. Hey, today's show is also made possible by Prize Picks. That's right. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Oh boy, and where do we even begin? For all those tuning in, I know we want to talk about Javier Baez because so much was made of his return to Wrigley Field, and we romanticize about the past. And when I say we, I mean Cubs fans. They're cheering him on and giving him a video tribute and a standing ovation and chanting, Javi, Javi. Well, that's the Javier Baez that we all know in Detroit. And I noticed I didn't say no in love, but that's Javier Baez 2024. 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. I don't know how somebody, I think it was my good buddy Steve St. John, shout out to him, he's an everydayer, that hit me up on Twitter just a moment ago before we went live. I think he swung and missed over 8 times. I mean, the guy just doesn't hit the baseball when he swings. And in a night like tonight where you're struggling offensively, and the strikeouts are mounting up. I think the Tigers struck out a total of 13 times tonight. Don't quote me on that. I don't have the box score in front of me. But as you can tell from the sound of my voice and the tone, I am absolutely rattled because Javier Baez, in his big return to Wrigley Field, and everybody wanted to make such a big deal about that, well, he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And, you know, again, I put this on Twitter. If Cubs fans love him so much and the Cubs as organization love him so much, you can have him. You can have him for a bucket of baseballs, an extra large bag of sunflower seeds, the kind you get at 7-Eleven, you know, at the gas station. That's all we ask for. And you can have Javier Baez be your shortstop as well. But just kind of a tough game if you're a Tigers fan because you had all the momentum from Sunday night's big win against the Yankees. You took 2 of 3 from the Yankees, and lo and behold, you got the same record as the Tigers entering play tonight. And once again, it wasn't the pitching staff, even though it was a bullpen day. Alex Faedo did a good job getting it started, just an inning and 2/3. And then the way and I had this, I know Bally tweeted it out, a couple other people tweeted out before the game started, but the Tigers pitching staff has been one of the best since the beginning of the month of August when they've been doing all these bullpen days. So it's not the pitching staff, it's the inability to get any type of clutch hitting. And tonight was another example of that. I mean, with runners in scoring position, 1 for 13, it's just absolutely brutal. But real quick, while I've got it pulled up here, the Tigers since August 3rd are first in ERA, first in WHIP, first in batting average, and first in home runs per 9. That's pretty dang good. So the pitching staff has been really, really good. And tonight they were really, really good. I mentioned Faedo. Then you had Bryan Sammons go 4 1/3, and he's going to get the tough luck loss because the offense is so terrible. And then Shelby Miller, 2 innings of scoreless work there. But Javy Baez, I mean, this is where, and it's funny when teams or fans of the sport of Major League Baseball and follow other teams, when I talk to them, they ask me about Javier Baez. And it's real simple. It boils down to the Detroit Tigers are not a serious franchise if Javy Baez is a part of this organization next year. If he's not cut, if he's not let go, bought out, and you just eat the loss and move on in 2025, it's just not a serious franchise. It's a low budget, small market. You know all the buzzwords I use all the time. It's just that. And there's no clearer way to look at a team and whether or not they're serious about winning than at the shortstop position if Javy Baez is a member of your team and trotting out there on a consistent basis. It's just that simple. He is not a big league player. Cut the losses, cut him loose. We tried, it's over. We swung and missed, whatever cliche term you want to put to it. Javy Baez should not play for the Detroit Tigers moving forward. And tonight was just the cherry on top, icing on the cake, whatever you want to call it. 0 for 4 strikeouts. And just because, and I put this in the tweet, how can you not be romantic about baseball? You got Javy Baez, the tying run at the plate, the Tigers down in the 9th. Oh, runner on, 2 outs, swing and a miss. He struck him out and the Tigers lose. And that's how it all played out. How do you like my play-by-play? But anyways, it's a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Thanks as always for making us your post-game destination, even after a Tigers loss. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Welcome to all the new subscribers. We had a heck of a weekend with that Lions preseason game. They walked it off on the Chiefs. I know it's only preseason, but Jake Bates 4 for 4 on field goals, and we had one heck of a show on Saturday following that game. And don't forget, we'll be live once again after every Lions game and following the conclusion of the preseason. Only preseason game at Ford Field will be Saturday against the Steelers. And so make sure you join me for that for the next Locked On Lions postcast. But this is the Locked On Tigers postcast. And once again, it's all part of the Locked On Sports Detroit YouTube platform, the post-game destination. Introducing POSTCAST from Locked On Sports, your post-game destination where we riff, we commiserate, we commemorate nights like tonight. We pray that somebody listening will make it happen that Javy Baez is no longer a part of the Detroit Tigers. But as always, we welcome your feedback. We welcome your comments. So let's get into the comments because this is a collaborative show. This is a welcome one, welcome all kind of ordeal. So let's get to those comments. Hannah Banana leads it off. Can we please start a GoFundMe to pay for Baez to get shipped to the moon far, far away? I love it. I love it, Hannah Banana. I'm with you. Yeah, get him out of here. I feel like the gif from Happy Gilmore when he's playing with Bob Barker and he said, "This guy sucks." That's how I feel about Javy Baez. Jesus, this guy sucks. Demetrius McNeil, he's an everydayer. Shout out to him. 14 strikeouts, 1 for 13 with men in scoring position. Has the Tigers doomed them to fail? That's 37 consecutive innings without a home run. And what's wrong with this offense nowadays? Yeah, ditto. Completely agree. It is a crapshoot right now offensively. Now, I did want to get to the one positive. Spencer Torkelson looks like he is seeing the baseball well. 4 hits tonight. He's been good since he was brought back up, and he learned his lesson in AAA. But yeah, collectively, 1 through 9 as an offense, it just you have to be better. And I have missed opportunities on the marquee today because you very rarely in Major League Baseball can you get a leadoff triple and find a way not to score. That takes some serious skill. Dillon Dingler leads off with a triple and then 3 consecutive strikeouts to strand the runner at third and waste a leadoff tripper. I mean, that in some ways is kind of impressive. In the top of the 5th, Javy Baez strikes out after Dillon Dingler tripled. Then it's Parker Meadows, then Riley Green, which Riley Green also, it's been a tough go at it since he came back from the injured list. And some of that's timing. He'll get through it. He'll start to work his way through it. But my goodness, it was a tough watch. And good comment here from Gareth, because I thought the same thing. AJ should have pinch hit for Baez. Exactly. You had the pinch hit for Andy Ibanez there in the 7th, I believe, when lefty was up, Smiley, and he struck out. But yeah, for as much as AJ Hinch loves to, rearrange the order, it was not good. And I'm sorry, that was the 8th inning that Ibanez struck out against Smiley. But yeah, something I would have expected AJ Hinch to make a move there, because Javy Baez already 0 for 3 with 3 Ks just has no chance there. There's no chance that he's getting a hit there. And we all knew it was coming. We all knew how that game was going to end, which makes it much more frustrating. But we'll talk a little bit more about the 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position, as well as Spencer Torkelson's big night. That's coming up next. Thanks for joining me on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Don't go anywhere. Back in a moment. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. That's right. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is on Prize Picks. That's why it's America's #1 daily fantasy sports, with over 5 million active members on the app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And it's real simple. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in, my friends. For example, always take more strikeouts on Javy Baez, because nights like tonight, he's going to give you more strikeouts. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community. You can now you can win 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's right. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Now, you guys know how big of a football fan I am. I'm a little scared of Caleb Williams, not going to lie. 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss the deal on Prize Picks, because it's gone when September ends. That's my Green Day for you. They'll think Tyreek Hill will get more than 90.5 yards in week 1. Aaron Jones run for more than 66.5 yards. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. That's right. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Find out for yourself at prizepicks.com. Prize Picks, run your game. This episode of Locked On Tigers postcast is also one where we are excited to bring you all the action of Spencer Torkelson. That's right. We're calling this the Spencer Torkelson episode. No, I kid. But it was a much better day. It's been a number of really good days at the plate for Spencer Torkelson. 4 more hits tonight, and he's looking like a ball player. And I was in favor of sending him down. I thought his stay in AAA was a little bit longer than maybe it needed to be. But then again, look at the production he's had since coming back up. I mean, he had a couple more hits on Saturday in that win over the Yankees, and then again tonight with the 4 hits. So you like what you're seeing from Spencer Torkelson. He did get really lucky on that little check swing bloop, but hey, sometimes the baseball gods, they giveth and they taketh away. But I think, and we look at last year with the second half resurgence that Spencer Torkelson had, and we think, all right, maybe he's doing the same thing this year, and that would be awesome, because I do think he just doesn't have I've heard people talking about him trading him somewhere, and I just don't think he has a lot of value on the trade market. If we give up on him, then essentially what are we getting in return? Whereas if he continues to show enough in these last in August and September to where he's worth giving another shot to, I think that's the move for this front office and for the Detroit Tigers as a whole. I think he can play his way into part of that core moving forward. Now, is this a humbling year for him and a year to forget in a lot of ways? Absolutely. But again, at the same time, if this year serves as the setback for a major comeback, then sure, we would all sign up for that. But 4 for 4 today brings his average up to 219, on base percentage at 286, slugging at 361. So again, that math would tell you that OBP still not great, but somewhere in the 600 range. Math not my thing, so we'll work through that. But appreciate that. Dillon Dingler, another bright spot in the lineup today. 2 hits for him, one of them being that triple, and then the clutch RBI single for the Tigers' only run. And we talked about this when Dillon Dingler was brought up. Like he's earned this opportunity. He's earned every right to be given a shot, which is what gave Scott Harris kind of the green light to be able to trade Carson Kelly at the deadline to the Texas Rangers. And now again, Dillon Dingler being a guy that needs to seize that moment. All right, a couple more comments to get to right now. All right, we go to Benjamin Brewer. Horse hockey breath bias, 4Ks. What a star. Green, of course, our super waste of time, also 4Ks. Yeah, Riley Green, I'll give a little bit more of a pass to. He's working back from the injured list and trying to get the timing down and things of that nature. He'll come around. I think he'll be just fine. 3Ks for him. And again, he doesn't look like himself. He doesn't look confident at the plate, but I believe he'll get back to that. But yeah, in total, 14 strikeouts for the Tigers, 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Meadows was 0 for 2. Dingler with the 1 hit with that RBI single. Colt Keith 0 for 1. Javy Baez 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts with runners in scoring position. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts for the game. Jace Young 0 for 2. I thought that was a tough call on him in the 9th. I looked to be a little bit outside on the backwards K. Vierling's 0 for 1 with the runner in scoring position. Same with Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter, also 0 for 1. You chalk it all up, and you're not going to score a lot of runs that way. And the Tigers only scored 1 tonight, which makes it tough. All right, couple more to get to. Top of the hour with Corey Leland. Torque was the only hitter who showed up. How many of us were yelling at the TV, take him back, about Javy? Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Cubs appear to have loved Javy Baez so much. They can have him. It's as simple as that. In fact, I would love for the Cubs to take Javy Baez back. That would solve a lot of problems. But hey, we appreciate you tuning in to a Locked On Tigers postcast. It's always a pleasure to be on the air with you. And as always, we thank you for making Locked On Sports Detroit your first listen. Now for your second listen, you got to check out the Locked On MLB podcast, where host Paul Sullivan, aka Sully, is here to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs. In the dog days of summer, we're getting closer and closer to those MLB playoffs. So prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I saw where Gio Urshela is now with the Braves after the Tigers released him, and all the injuries that the Braves have had, they're still clinging to a wild card spot in the National League. So maybe Gio can help the Braves make the playoffs. But we'll wrap it up, tie a bow on this one, and look ahead to tomorrow, where the Tigers will try to even the series against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up next. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right, America's #1 sports book. We love FanDuel for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, it is the best, simply the best. No, with FanDuel, it's the official betting partner of Major League Baseball. And listen, they've got something for everybody. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, but here's something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, one day before my birthday, September 23rd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. That's right, 3 weeks. That's pretty awesome stuff. Now, with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market games. That's right. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. That's right. It's a sportsbook right in your pocket. As always, live odds available on FanDuel.com. And don't forget, you heard us talk about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Now, a little something different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, we tie a bow on this one tonight as the Tigers fall to the Chicago Cubs 3-1. They both had a 61 and 64 record coming into tonight. And what's interesting about that is this Tigers team played well enough to win tonight. They just did not capitalize on any opportunity. 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Leadoff triple that somehow didn't score. Second and third, or for 2 men on with in the 6th when they were unable to score as well. Just time and time again, not able to capitalize. But back at it tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs, a little later of a start time, 8:05 Eastern. And Tigers do not have a starter listed, so in all likelihood be another bullpen day because that's where we're at right now. If it's not Cater or Tarek, it's a bullpen day. And additionally, we'll be live on the air immediately following the final out. And hopefully we've got more to talk about than tonight of just really, really bad baseball aside from Spencer Torkelson's 4-hit night. Other highlights, like I said, Dillon Dingler with 2 hits, hit for Colt Keith. Matt Vierling made one heck of a catch, slamming up against the brick wall in right field there. That's worth pointing out. Nice defense there. I really thought he's really come into his own. He made some nice plays Sunday night in the game in Williamsport against the Yankees when he was mic'd up, and then he followed that up after the off day with some really nice defense as well. But all said, it's a 3-1 loss for the Tigers. And like I said, the Tigers and Cubs had the same record coming in. Cubs now 62 and 64, Tigers 61 and 65. And the Cubs are in the National League wild card conversation. The Tigers obviously not, because the American League much better than the National League in terms of overall record. But you look at where the Tigers are, and 9 games back. Okay. Now where the Cubs are 6 games back. So still flirting with it at 61 or 62 and 64 now with the win. So a lot of teams to jump though. You got the Giants, Mets in front of you for the Cubs, Cardinals, Giants, and Mets all in front of the Cubs. Whereas the Tigers have the Rays, Mariners, and Red Sox all in front of them. That being said, I think based on the decisions, obviously we all know this, based on the decisions of going with the young guys, the rookies, bringing everybody up, this is not a team competing for playoffs by any means. And you can't when you don't have any starting pitching. But that said, appreciate everybody being on tonight. It was good to be back after the off day, and apologies on missing on Sunday. But it one of those things with family on the road, but glad to be back tonight. All right. That being said, we look ahead to the Tigers' remaining schedule, because a lot of people talking about this upcoming stretch as an opportunity to stockpile some wins, because after the Cubs, you've got 3 with the White Sox in Chicago, just continuing that Chicago road trip. And we all know about the White Sox, not very good. And then after that, you've got a very bad Angels team, but for whatever reason, the Tigers always struggle against the Angels. That's a home series. And so those games you would expect, if the Tigers can somehow get the next two against the Cubs, sweep the White Sox, and hey, maybe we've got some momentum going in to that homestand first against the Angels before the Red Sox come to town beginning on August 30th. Then that's a Friday, followed by a trip to San Diego to take on the Padres, and then to Oakland, the Coliseum. That's right, September 8th or September 6th through the 8th. Before the Rockies come to town. Then it's the Orioles, Royals, more with the Orioles, Rays, and White Sox to close out the season on September 29th. So that's a fun look ahead to the schedule that the Tigers have coming up. Again, tonight they fall by a score of 3-1. And we'll try and do better tomorrow because that was a tough scene to watch. Javy Baez strikes out 4 times in his return. Dillon Dingler with 2 hits, including an RBI single. He had a leadoff triple in which the Tigers could not score. And Spencer Torkelson, a 4-hit night for the Tigers. One thing to feel good about. Alex Faedo led it off, Bryan Sammons, and then it was Shelby Miller for the combined 9 hits. I'm sorry, the Cubs only had the 5 hits. They scored 3 runs. The Tigers had 9 hits. So you get 9 hits and 1 run. You're not going to win a lot of games that way. So that'll do it for me tonight. Again, thank you all for tuning in. It's always a pleasure, and appreciate all of the comments. And as this channel continues to experience some growth, it's very exciting times. We've got a Locked On Lions postcast after the final preseason tune-up, which will be Saturday at 1 at Ford Field, and then we'll chat about it on the Locked On Lions postcast. We've got Tigers baseball all week, so it will continue to be an enjoyable time on Locked On Sports Detroit. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. And as always, we thank you for making this your first listen. Now it's time to go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. It's all on Locked On MLB, your team every single day. My thanks to everybody tuning in to make Locked On Tigers postcast your post-game destination. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit. Same time tomorrow night at the end of Tigers Cubs. Tigers will try to bounce back at Wrigley Field. Until then, have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.